Now listen, when an episode of The Oval is called Sweet Dreams, I already know not to trust it. Because on this show, nobody is sleeping peacefully, nobody is safe, nobody is telling the whole truth. So episode 4 already has me looking at everybody sideways. Now the title itself, it sounds soft, Sweet Dreams, it sounds calm. It sounds like somebody is finally gonna get a little peace, but this is The Oval. So sweet dreams could easily mean that somebody is being rocked to sleep by a lie, comforted by the wrong person, or led directly into a trap that they never saw coming. And after everything that just happened on episode number 3, I don't think the danger is only outside the White House anymore. I think the real danger is inside the room, sitting at the table, making deals, smiling in people's faces, and acting like they are the solution when they may actually be part of the problem. So today, let's talk about my predictions for The Oval Season 7, episode number 4, because I think this episode is about to expose who's really thinking ahead, who's panicking, and who's about to get played. And let me start with Eli, because the official description says Eli makes a plea deal that will protect him and Allan. Now, that alone tells me we're about to see a major shift, because when someone makes a plea deal, they're not just telling the truth out of the goodness of their heart, right? They're protecting themselves. They're choosing survival. They're calculating what they can give up and who they can sacrifice and how much information they need to hand over to save their own skin, right? And this is why Eli has my full attention on episode 4, because Eli has been one of those characters who moves like he wants to be seen as smarter, cleaner, and more strategic than everybody else. But now that things are getting dangerous, all of that polished energy may start cracking. A plea deal changes the whole game, because now the question becomes, who is Eli willing to throw under the bus? Is he about to give up information on Hunter? Is he about to expose something tied to Victoria? Is he about to reveal something about the people behind the attack? What is it? What could it be? And let's be honest, if Eli is making a deal to protect Allan too, then Allan may know more than what we realize. Allan might not be the mastermind, clearly, but he's been close enough to the madness to be useful, right? He's seen enough, he's heard enough. So if Eli is protecting Allan, then that tells me that Allan may be holding information that somebody else desperately wants buried. And that makes Allan dangerous without even trying to be. Now, while Eli is trying to secure a way out, we also have Nancy fearing for her life and relying on Sharon to save her from Kareem. And that storyline tells me episode 4 is not only about politics, it's about mere survival. Now, Nancy being scared of Kareem makes sense, because Kareem has been moving like a man who is losing control, right? And when a weak man feels embarrassed, cornered, or exposed, he can become very dangerous. And that is what makes this situation scary. It's not always the person with the most power who causes the most damage. Sometimes it's the person who feels like they have nothing else to lose. But here's where I think the title Sweet Dreams gets interesting, because everybody in this episode seems to be looking for safety, right? Eli wants legal safety, Allan needs protection, Nancy needs physical safety, and Sharon may be trying to keep somebody alive. Hunter wants political safety. Dilva wants control of the narrative. But what if all these people are chasing safety while walking deeper into danger? This is a theme I think episode 4 may be playing with, because the biggest setup is not always the loudest one. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it looks like help. Sometimes it looks like a deal. Sometimes it looks like a rescue. Sometimes it looks like people are stepping in at a perfect time with all the answers. And that brings me back to Miss Dilva, because I don't fully trust her. I know she walked in like she was there to clean up the mess, right? I know that she has all this confidence behind her and authority. She's got all the answers and the ability to speak in a way that makes everybody else looks like they're 2 steps behind her. She just seems to be a little too prepared. She came into the White House during a crisis, right? And somehow moved like she already knew where everything was, who needed to be handled, what the public needed to hear, and how to spin the entire situation, that's not normal. That's not just I'm good at my job energy. That's I know this storm was coming energy. And I'm not saying that Dilva caused the storm, but I am saying, and I think that we all know that she knows a lot more about what's going on than she's letting on. And Dilva's power is very interesting because she doesn't have to yell. She doesn't have to throw any glasses. She doesn't have to threaten people every 5 minutes. She just walks in, she says what needs to be said, and suddenly the room shifts. That's dangerous. And power like that always comes from somewhere. So my big question for episode 4 is simple. Who sent Dilva? I know she told us who sent her initially, but I don't believe her. How can we believe her? How can we believe anything that goes on in this White House at this point? Because if she's truly there to help the administration, then Hunter may have one of the strongest people on his side. But if she's there to control the administration, then Hunter may already be trapped and too ignorant to realize it. And this brings me to Hunter. Hunter is in one of the weakest positions that we've seen him in. Like, right? He can still talk crazy. He can still act like he's in control, but the country is still under threat. The White House is unstable. People around him are making deals, and a woman he barely understands is now helping shape the message. That man is not in control. He's reacting. And that's a very different thing. Hunter likes the appearance of power, right? He likes the title, the room, the attention, and the ability to bark orders at people. But real leadership requires strategy. It requires discipline. It requires the ability to listen before everything falls apart. And Hunter ain't got none of that. So if episode 4 is really about sweet dreams, I think Hunter may be the one being lulled into a false sense of security. He may think that Dilva is there to protect him. He may think the press can be managed. He may think the worst is behind him. But I think the nightmare is just starting, because if Eli starts talking, that could open doors Hunter doesn't really want opened. If Allan is protected, that means that he may become a witness of a problem of some sort. If Nancy and Sharon's storyline escalates, that adds another layer of chaos. And if Dilva is controlling the message, Hunter may not even realize he's no longer controlling his own presidency, which is quite normal. Because the White House looks powerful from the outside, right? But inside, everybody's scrambling. And let's not forget about Victoria. Even though this prediction is focused heavily on Hunter and Dilva, Victoria is not somebody that we can ever count out. Victoria, she may not always be loud in every moment, but she's always watching. And I believe she can tell when another woman enters the room with power. And that's why I want to see how Victoria reacts to Dilva. Because Victoria is used to being the woman who can read the room, manipulate the room, and intimidate the room. But Dilva, she does not feel like a woman who is easily intimidated at all. And if Victoria senses that Dilva is becoming too influential over Hunter or too involved in the White House strategy, we may see Victoria start quietly plotting around her. Not because Victoria cares about Hunter in a romantic fairy tale way, but I mean, let's be serious, but because Victoria cares about control. And Dilva may be a threat to that control. So I would not be surprised if episode 4 gives us some tension between these two women, even if it's subtle, a look, a comment, a moment where Victoria realizes Dilva is not just another staff member, she's a team player. And if Victoria sees her as a player, then the game changes altogether. Now, let's talk about this phrase here, sweet dreams itself, the title of episode 4, because I keep coming back to it. And this title, it could point to somebody being physically asleep, mentally asleep, emotionally blind, or politically unaware, which is everybody in the White House. It could mean that someone is dreaming of safety while, danger is still standing right behind them. And I think that applies to several characters. But somebody is about to wake up, and one that I haven't even covered because I did see episode 4, and it's it's gonna get really wild down there with Jason and Priscilla. Kind of crazy. And when they do, I think that we're all gonna realize that the setup was already in motion. And we're gonna realize that Sweet Dreams is not a peaceful title at all. It's actually a warning, because on the Oval, the dream is usually a lie. The nightmare is the truth, and somebody's about to find out that they've been sleeping through the setup this entire time. So now I want to know what you think, because these are just my thoughts. Do you trust Dilva? Do you think that Eli's plea deal is going to expose Hunter? Do you think Allan is in more danger than we realize? And do you think that Sharon can actually save Nancy from crazy Kareem? Drop your theories and your predictions down below. And if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. You know I'd appreciate it. And if you're a fan of Tyler Perry's The Oval, like I am, then go ahead and sub to this channel for more videos just like this one. Thank you so much for tuning in today to Ruthless TV, you guys, and I'm going to see you on the next one.